Now, you already know this ain't no ordinary travel podcast. This is the place where stories stretch across oceans, where truth comes wrapped in laughter, and healing shows up between passport stamps. I'm Auntie Rae, your resident hot pants, wearing, globe-trotting, truth-telling storyteller. Some folks call me Raven, but for y'all, I'm Auntie Rae, and I've got a tale for you. So pull up a chair, pour yourself something warm or wild. As you know, I'm probably sipping on some shine, not just wine. Now let's take this journey together. Good to have you back, y'all. Last time, we were dancing through Northern Europe, navigating noisy neighbors and entitled bus riders. This time, we're heading south for a 12-day carnival cruise from Dover, tracing the sun-drenched coastlines of Spain, Portugal, and finally, making our way towards Rome. This was an extended adventure, a chance to really settle into the rhythm of ship life, find new routines, and soak up that sweet European charm. And let me tell you, when Auntie Rae is truly moving at her own pace, unbound, that's when the real magic happens. This cruise was all about deepening my sense of release, not picking up drama, and truly living that freedom. Now, before we even hit the open sea, I had a little adventure in Dover. I walked straight off the port, looking for a small market to gather my provisions. Child, I didn't realize how far I walked. No buses in sight, so I just kept putting one foot in front of the other, determined to find what I needed. I even had to go down a flight of stairs to an underground passage to pop up on the other side. My tinny shoes were not equipped for that kind of expedition, and by the time I got back to the ship with my treasures, I was overly exhausted from the long walk. But I found what I found, even this really cool water sprinkler display that was running full blast, you know. It might start at a cool 55 degrees, but when that sun comes out, it heats up fast. Speaking of coming back, there was a blessed change on this cruise. My room steward, a true angel, had actually moved all my overpacked luggage from my Deck 1 cabin to a new one on Deck 2. This time, I had an ocean view. Yes, y'all. Windows and a sofa. It felt like an upgrade, even if it was just because I was staying so long. My steward was a godsend, saving me from having to wrestle all those suitcases myself. So, I was finally settled in my new digs, taking a well-deserved nap after my Dover trek, when bang, bang, bang on my cabin door. My phone had been ringing, but I ignored it and just rolled over. Then it rang again. But the banging on the door? That's what finally jolted me awake. I threw open the door, ready to give somebody a piece of my mind, and who should be standing there, grinning like the Cheshire Cat? Dolores. "Guess who's back?" she squealed. In my head, I heard, "Oh great, Chucky is back." I know, that's a little mean, but sometimes the truth ain't always pretty. I managed to, "How wonderful to see that you're back. What brought you back?" She goes, "Well, you're going around for the next 2 cruises, so I just called my cruise guy, booked my flight, and came back. I thought, girl, you must be rolling in money like that." And what I discovered later is she's been living off her late husband's insurance money, just burning through it. Then again, Carnival is her chosen line. And once you gamble enough and cruise a lot, you get that status where your cabin is practically free. So I don't want to dive too deep into her pockets or her money, don't even care about it really. But she was back, and this time she'd hooked up with another woman who had also lost her husband. So now I had to deal with them both, wallowing in their grief, constantly talking about their late husbands. Child, I've never been married, so I don't know what that's like. But all I know is stop wallowing in it. Move on. They wouldn't want you to constantly talk about them. Your life is just as precious as theirs, and you're being kind of selfish. I did my best to distance myself from her because she was never happy about anything, just constant complaints. She travels a lot but doesn't know how to travel. It was entitlement, plain and simple. And that entitlement, it reared its ugly head in a shoe store. I believe it was in Porto. Now, I don't know how to explain this, but I'm kind of a magnet, which is why I don't really like to go out at certain times of the day when I know a lot of people are out. I draw people in to wherever I'm at. It gets annoying because I can't really shop and wander. I can go into a store, or better yet, I can scope a store out. 10, 20 minutes, nobody's coming and going. But once Auntie Rae steps in, 2 minutes later, that store is about to fill up with people. And I can't move around the way I had hoped to move around. I was told I have to live with that because it's part of the energy thing. So we're in this shoe store. I had just purchased my bag, and Dolores wants to look at the same bag in a different color. She's just going on and on about this bag, opening it up, turning it over, flipping it down, while the sales lady is doing her best, speaking English, being accommodating. Then a coworker gets slammed. Another customer needs a specific shoe size. A delivery comes in. I'm watching all this, seeing all of this going down. There are at least 15 other people in line with shoes in hand, waiting to be served. And Dolores is at the counter, still trying to decide, do I get this bag or that bag? When she finally made a decision, the lady placed the bag on the counter, and one of the buckles hit a little harder than Dolores liked. Dolores took that as an offense, an irritation, as if the lady was annoyed. Child, I was on the outside looking in, watching the whole thing unfold. When Dolores started getting an attitude, demanding an apology, it just got out of hand. It was stupid. She was being microaggressive, totally unaware of all those other people watching this interaction. She had definitely proved herself to be the ugly American. Then she decided she didn't want the bag, but she still wanted to sit and complain about the rudeness. All these other people were just thinking, what the hell? Just move on. I'm like, Dolores, let's just go. She wanted to argue, so I just thought, you know what? Peace out. I rolled out of that store. But the very next day, in the very next port, a non-African American lady approached me saying, are you traveling with that lady you were with yesterday at the shoe store? I said, no, I met her 2 cruises ago. She just rejoined this cruise. And the lady said, good, because I'm glad she's not your friend. You need to lose her. What she did was absolutely out of line. She's a bad person. She's got bad energy. I looked at the lady and said, you know what? Yes, she was. And it made no difference to Dolores when I told her. But that stranger was right. Dolores started to show herself more and more every day on this cruise, so I started to distance myself more and more from her. I came on this cruise for a sense of release, not to pick up drama. She's a sad soul, and there was nothing I could do to help her. I mean, granted, we'd still meet up for dinner, but I'd keep it short. Let her know I was heading to the comedy club or meeting up with another group for drinks, knowing she didn't drink. That was my graceful exit. I kept it friendly, asking her what she'd been up to in the candy shop. She was always on the phone with her grandkids. I'm like, girl, you spent all that money to come on this cruise, and all you want to do is buy keychains for your grandkids? I'm a sightseer. I want to see things come back and say, I saw this museum, this statue. She just wanted to go on foot and buy bags, and more bags. So I spent my time getting up early, doing my ritual, and getting off the ship. By the time I'd head back, she'd just be getting ready to do what she does best, shop for keychains for her grandkids. A few times she'd find me in the Serenity area, with the other adults. No kids, just watching the sunset, having drinks, laughing and joking with the other passengers I'd connected with. One gentleman, Nat, approached me. He told me he loved my tiger eye earrings. "I just love that stone," he said, showing me two really cool bracelets he had found. I still haven't found a similar one for myself, but his were amazing. He and I and the others in that group, we were the ones getting excited when we passed the Rock of Gibraltar. Are we really that close to Africa right now? Am I really that close to hitting the Motherland? It was astonishing just to see the Rock of Gibraltar. Knowing that goal is still out there for me. Looking out at that rock, knowing how close I was to the Motherland. Some dreams are just waiting for their perfect timing. That connection felt right. And speaking of connections, Nat knew another woman and gentleman who had met on the first leg of my cruise. She had gone home, but he was so smitten with her, he actually flew her and her aunt back to meet him on this cruise. And yes, Auntie was there, chaperone in tow, because she wanted to know what this was all about. They seemed paired up, thick as thieves. I know there's this thing of love. At first sight, never experienced it myself, but he saw something in her. She saw something in him, and he made it happen. He even told her, "Whoever you want to bring with you, I will fly them here and pay for their cruise, put them up in a suite and everything." So yes, y'all, there are still some guys like that out there. The very next day, as we were clearing Spain, off the coast of France, I had the opportunity to see a volcano erupting. The white smoke was billowing really high in the air. I still need to look up which active volcano that was. But it was absolutely amazing. I think everybody on the ship went nuts watching it, because that's a once-in-a-lifetime thing, to actually see a volcano in the process of erupting. You just don't wake up every day and see the earth doing its own kind of drama. It was an incredible adventure as we made our way around, heading to Civitavecchia, Rome, to start our Mediterranean phase. It was an adventure going through Spain, Portugal, on our way to Rome. I continued my grocery store runs, stocking up on provisions. I had an entire snack basket going in my cabin. But something I did differently on this cruise was I found myself in a craft store in Le Havre, France, and bought a paint by numbers picture. In the afternoons, after getting back on the ship and taking a shower, I'd find a quiet table by the windows, break out all my art supplies, and just paint, while listening to music and drinking coffee. People would come by, ask questions. "Where did you get it? Is that something you did yourself?" I'd tell them I just wanted something to do with my afternoon. And before I knew it, I started seeing other people in the galley with sketchbooks or coloring books. It gave us something to do, besides just reading or napping, especially when you're almost 30 days at sea. It's not always about the pub. Sometimes you just want quiet time, something else to focus on. When I finished my painting, I left it for my room steward. You want to know what I really like about traveling solo? That freedom of movement. When I am traveling with others, I tend to adjust. I become more concerned about, are they enjoying themselves, what they want to do, waiting around for them to make a decision, etc. And then you have those who don't want to make a decision at all. They just want to depend on you for their entertainment, for you to be their tour guide. It's exhausting, and it's no longer an adventure, because now I'm accommodating. I'm a tour guide, and I am not your average individual. I don't like shopping. If I'm going to stop in, I'll get a patch for my denim jacket and roll out. I don't need to pick up every single thing, look at it, turn it over, examine it, put it down, walk away, and come back to it. That's not me. And I hate it when I do wind up hooking up with someone to travel with. I kind of step back into that pleasing role, that tour guide personality. And God forbid I open my mouth and tell someone I have a travel company, then it's like my time is no longer my time. They want to monopolize it. I'm learning to just walk away, say nothing, and in my head be like, God bless you, and keep moving. I tend to get hooked up with folks who don't really travel well or aren't researchers. I can be that fly by the seat of my pants kind of person, I can make a very elaborate itinerary for myself, but I'm also that kind of person who goes with the mood, the energy of the day. I can change things up on a dime, like that little kid in a department store who sees all those shiny little things and wanders away. That's me. Once I find my tribe, adventurous, like-minded individuals, I love to hear their suggestions. I don't want someone who just wants to hitch their wagon to mine and have me drag them through a cruise port. Travel isn't always glamorous. There are going to be hiccups along the way. And you have some folks that travel, and they're just very rigid. Those are the folks that just need to travel by themselves. I'll catch you in 3 hours. I'll meet up with you. But if you don't show up at the meeting point, I give you 15 minutes, then I'll roll out without you, y'all. This cruise was a real test of my boundaries, a reminder that my peace is non-negotiable, even on vacation. But it was also filled with incredible beauty, history, and moments of genuine connection. For us, we were hitting those beautiful Iberian coasts. Porto whispered, Lisbon sang. By the time I left, my soul knew it had found a new home. I knew I'd be back. But just as I was soaking in all that beauty, ready for Rome, the universe had other plans. I got a call, an email, and it wasn't the kind of news you want to get when you're floating carefree on the open sea. My mother's cancer test results were back, and they weren't good. That was the moment the universe reminded me, some adventures are closer to home. Family first, always. That was the moment this grand escape, this long spiritual sabbatical, abruptly pulled the plug. There was no question. My bags were packed, my heart was heavy, and my destination was clear. Home. See, I told you it wasn't just a story, it was a moment. And y'all, moments like that, they linger. So take a deep breath, hold on to the lesson, the laugh, or the little piece of truth that found you today. And don't worry, we're just getting warmed up. Next time I've got another chapter, another turn, another truth to spill. We're talking about how a quiet moment on that vast ocean led to a connection I never expected and the wild path it took me on. 'Cause this road Auntie Rae is walking, it's rich with detours, revelations, and a whole lot of soul. Until then, keep your bags light, your heart open, and your sass unapologetic.
Southbound breezes calling from Dover's distant shore. 12 days on the carnival with magic to explore. A trek in tennis shoes from port to market's call. Overpacked and weary, stumbled, almost fall. But an ocean view was waiting, a sofa soft and deep. My angel steward's blessing, all my luggage he would keep. Then a knock upon my door, a grin, a piercing gaze. Chucky's back, my mind cried through a sunlit weary haze. Iberian detours under skies so blue. Unsolicited wisdom finding peace for me and you. The rhythm of the ocean, a story to unfold. But some paths turn abruptly, a truth to make you bold. Dolores back from nowhere with another grieving soul. They're wallowing in drama, taking quite a toll. In Porto at the shoe store, my magnet energy drew the crowd. She chose to be the ugly, speaking far too loud. 15 souls were waiting, she demanded an apology. A stranger's validation, setting my spirit free. My stones upon my necklace, guarding what I'd earned. That peace was non-negotiable, a lesson I had learned. Iberian detours under wisdom, finding peace for me. The rhythm of the ocean, a story to unfold, but some paths turn abruptly, a truth to make you bold. The Rock of Gibraltar, a whisper in the air, so close to the motherland, a dream still waiting there. A volcano in the distance, Earth's drama, fiery plume, painting by the window, chasing away the gloom. The freedom of solo travel, my own rhythm and my pace, no longer accommodating, finding my rightful place. My tribe of kindred spirits, suggestions light and free. No wagons to be hitched, just wild adventure for me. Then back in Civitavecchia, a call I couldn't dodge. My mother's doctor speaking beyond the distant lodge. The words began to blur, familiar terms I'd known. My heart didn't just drop, y'all, it shattered to the bone. Stage 4, multiple myeloma, knee surgery now astray. A flight back to the homeland, no more time to play. My brother heard the news, the plan took sudden flight. Home was calling urgently, pulling me from the light. Iberian detours under skies so blue, unsolicited wisdom, finding peace for me and you. The rhythm of the ocean, a story to unfold, but some paths turn abruptly, a truth to make